Ciao, aloha, and welcome to another episode of the Godfather Minute. I'm Alex Robinson.
And I'm Andy Robinson.
And today we are the Godfather Minute Brothers, talking about minute 157. Minute 157.
Oh, that's me. The timing. I got no timing. Alex, repeat after me. E minuto. Numero. 157.
156. Sette.
You got it.
156.
You got it, you dirty rat.
Well, you know what happens in this minute is we're at the funeral of Don Vito Corleone, and Mikey Corleone lays out the upcoming events for Tom Hagen. Tessio is going to sell him out to Barzini and the 5 other families. He concedes that it's the smart move, and also that he has agreed to be the titular godfather to Connie and Carlos's baby.
That's right.
Before we proceed, I have an update to last minute.
Oh, okay.
Some bit of
This is a clean it up.
Yeah.
This is our clean it up segment.
This would be you could call this a clean it up.
Clean it up.
Now, in the last minute, when Mikey goes to talk to Tessio over in the corner about his deal with Tattaglia, he
Wait, did Tattaglia talk to Tessio?
you didn't hear about the Tattaglia Tessio talk?
Tongue twisters. Tattaglia told Tessio to talk to Tom
Tomorrow. And the Turk.
The Turk, Tattaglia, and Tessio told Tom to talk.
Tom took Tessio to the Turk.
Oh, that's one of those mind puzzles. All right, you got Tattaglia, Barzini, and Tom in the conference room, and you need to get all of them to the other room, but no one can be alone at one time for fear of... Anyway, so clean it up, Alex.
So okay, I'm cleaning it up. In last week's minute, there's one part of the scene where Mikey stands up and basically his whole black suit fills up the entire screen. And when that happens, you can see the ghostly image of Mama like superimposed on it.
What?
It's so weird. And when you're like, how did I not notice this? Because when you see it, you'll be like, oh my God, there's Mama.
Was Mama in the shot as Michael was standing up? So it's just kind of a residual.
Well, basically they and I think because you can see Mama's chewing gum. And
at Pop's funeral?
I know. She didn't know it was Pop's funeral.
Mama, spit out that gum, Mama.
Spit it out!
No! Spit it out!
Well, so
You're
basically what after analyzing it, experts have deduced that it's just a trick of the lens, because Mama was sitting just off camera, but the weird combination of the screen going dark made it like pick up light from farther away or something.
Wow.
It's definitely like some kind of lens refraction thing that you wouldn't have noticed if the screen hadn't been entirely black by his suit. So check it out.
That's wild.
So I kind of like the idea, because I'm sure people would be like, what's the symbolism of that, of Ghost Mama showing up in that minute? But of course it's just a flub, a blooper.
Wow. So, what's your source, Alex?
What's my source?
Yeah, how do you know it's a blooper?
Oh my gosh. I read it in the newspapers.
Well, we've got art directors and lens refractors on the payroll, don't we, Tom? They might like a refraction like that. So wait a minute, if that were in the newspaper, would they have to issue a refraction?
Well, it does lend itself to that.
I don't like the optics of this. All those 30 newspapermen on the payroll. Anyway, well, that's awesome. I'm going to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
So
Can't believe I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I never saw it either until I saw it pointed out in a bloopers and practical jokes listing of things. So let's talk about minute 157.
Wait. Did you learn about this
Wait a minute.
because you happened to be watching the minute, noticed it, and then researched it? Or were you listening to something unrelated about bloopers and it came up The Godfather?
No, I think I was looking at trivia about The Godfather, and it said, "Oh, if you notice during the scene, you'll see Ghost Mama." It maybe it's on like a Wikipedia or whatever, something like that. You know?
Okay.
Or IMDb, they list film flubs.
Yeah.
And stuff
If they just listed that one flub, Alex, technically it's a trivium.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out.
There was something recently where some politician used
Trivium? I've never even heard that before.
There was some.
I love that.
What was it? There was some. Anyway, forget it. Cut all that out. Some other politician recently said something that I was like, "Oh, is that really the plural of that word?" And it was one of those things where technically he was right, even though it was like saying mediums or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to say media.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Funny.
but,
I love that.
whenever possible, on Star Wars Minute, we always try to use the correct Stadia.
Yeah. Heck yeah. We have an obligation to teach.
Colossia.
Right? If we don't do it, those plural suffixes will be lost.
That's true.
I'm sorry, suffi will be lost.
So
what do you got for the minute, Alex?
Well,
it's kind of cool minute.
This is the third time that we are told what's going to happen. That Tessio is going to approach him and set up a thing, and then there he'll be, because the Don tells him it will happen. And now this is the third time we see it repeated.
Yeah,
We hear it
and
repeated.
Tom still doesn't get it. He's like, no, be quick, Clemenza.
I was like, Tom, that's why you're out. You're not quick on the update. Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me that he's going to kill you at that meeting? But it's so.
So should Mikey have said, "Oh, Papa Jenko, Santino had you. Look what I got."
Santino had you, and look what I got. It's like
a different in Tom 2.0.
But
I'm Tom 2.0.
But it sort of reminds me of when Mikey was going to kill the Turk, in that they kept repeating over and over again like what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? Go up to him, do one shot, don't and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So on a related matter, in the film Star Wars, the 1977 film Star Wars, Han Solo says, "I hope that old man got that tractor beam out of commission" 2 times in the space of 1 minute.
Really?
But you don't notice it because there's other stuff going on. But
interesting.
It really, to me, seemed like a good, almost like you definitely want to let the audience know what's going on. You know what I mean? It's basically
even
a way
though he had just said it within the past minute. Did it ramp up the urgency or the stakes?
I don't know. It's weird because I never noticed it until we were doing minute by minute. But surely when they were editing it, they must have realized that they were so close together.
Yeah.
But I think it's a conscious thing of saying, okay, well, we want to increase the tension and whatever. But even though at that point we all know the old man got that tractor beam out of commission.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even later when they're when they're in the rebel base analyzing the plans from the R2 unit, you can hear Han saying, "Wow, I'm really glad that old man got that tractor beam out of commission because that wasn't so it made it not a really short trip."
Yeah, exactly.
Use the same words but change the tenses.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. So you think it's for the same purpose here? They're
I think
reminding the audience the plot.
Yeah. Because maybe if they didn't do that, then you'd be like, why did they kill Tessio at the end? And you'd be like, oh, or if someone went,
why doesn't he get him off the hook for old time's sake? This is Tessio. Oh, I have an update, by the way.
Oh, okay, update. So play that update theme.
This is a novelty song update. I have
it up.
I've finished writing the song. The next countdown song. I've finished recording it.
Let's hear it.
Here it is. Not. I just have to mix it. I just have to mix and master it. But my goal is for the next minute, we will debut it. First for the supporters and the bonus content.
That's true.
And then when Tessio gets the axe, then we'll play it for everyone. It's really good.
We'll play it before then because we still have to count down to.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But definitely the Patreon supporters will get to hear it first.
Yeah. But I really like it. I'm very happy with it.
Good.
Very happy with it. Very happy with the lyrics in particular. Very sharp.
How's your voice?
It's not weak.
It's not weak.
Especially I have a whole new recording setup. I had all these filters and deverb and compressors. So you can take a weak voice like Johnny's and boom, make it like Sinatra's.
Well, but the first thing you have to do is you have to get mixing lessons, reverb lessons, all those kind of things.
There wasn't enough time, Michael.
I just couldn't keep time, Michael.
Yeah. I never wanted you to have to use filters. I figured by the time I was gone, you'd be the one applying the filters to other people's voices.
Stand them up, filter. Here's something I noticed relevant to our previous discussions. You see Mikey look over at Barzini, and Barzini is having his cigarette lit by a lackey there.
That whole scene is crazy.
Why is it crazy?
Well, why don't you finish, and I've got some comments about that.
Well, what I liked about it was that it was a continuation of a metaphor we haven't seen for a while, which is the lighter as symbol of power. Because if you remember when they were trying to protect Mikey's father, and Mikey was using the lighter and he wasn't Enzo was very nervous and shaking, and then Mikey was not nervous. And then again later when Mikey was coming up with the Turk plan, the lighter was very prominent.
Yeah.
So looking at it from that point of view, at first it almost seems like Barzini is like weak because he's like bowing down to the flame. So that seems like he doesn't have the power, but it's almost like he is so powerful he doesn't even need to carry the power himself. Like someone else can carry it for him because he has it like internally that he doesn't even need to hold it himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fantastic assessment. I never thought of it that way.
So so that's what I kind of liked about the that Barzini is so confident that he doesn't even need to hold his own lighter.
We will have to keep a lookout in the rest of the movie and GF2 and GF3. God forbid we get there to see if Michael eventually has his cigarette lit by someone else, because that would show the evolution of his power.
Yeah, I wonder if I wonder if Coppola picked it up.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in real life that having someone light your cigarette is a they're showing respect and they're deferring to your higher authority? I feel like it can work either way.
Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, I think traditionally you're doing it as a service to someone. Like you're lighting a woman doesn't have a lighter, so it's the gentleman's duty to light his cigarette light her cigarette for her.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something also like if you're smoking cigars, like the waiter would light your cigar for you or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Would you want someone lighting your stogies?
I don't want somebody putting an open flame that close to my face unsupervised. So,
unless it's on your turf.
Yeah, right? My turf.
Interesting.
On my territory. Yeah.
Well, I've got some items, Alex.
What do you got for us?
Well, let me comment about that little scene. So it seems like it's the Don's funeral. It's somber. But Barzini's yucking it up. He's got a crowd of people around him. He's shaking hands, laughing and smiling.
Cracking wise.
That's when Tessio walks up to him, whispers in his ear, and they shake hands. I mean, it seems like what is this, movie premiere that Barzini has funded? What's going on?
So you think Barzini's being a little... Now, is Barzini being too cocky?
Yes.
Or is he purposely doing it as a way of showing Mikey, like, look, you're dead now, mother effer.
Yeah.
I'm treating you with so much disrespect. I'm going to cackle and laugh at your pop's funeral.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know it's Pop's funeral, too. I am disappointed we don't see Fredo at the funeral. I think we commented on that already.
Yeah.
You think he was too tranquilized, anesthetized?
I think he's too busy banging two grave diggers two at a time. Everywhere he goes.
Paul Bearers two at a time. People couldn't get their bodies buried.
Oh man! Everywhere he goes,
You just can't help it.
that's everywhere he goes to intern. That's the problem.
Oh, so it's Bonacera complaining about him because he was interning at the
That's great.
What else you got?
Let's see. When Bartini walks away toward his car to leave the funeral, and you hear Michael, the voiceover of Michael talking about his plans, and I agreed to be the godfather to Connie's child. You see Tessio staring down the hill at Bartini leaving.
Right. Yeah.
It's a little suspicious, and it was odd. I don't know if you noticed that. Why is Tessio just staring down the hill, watching watching Bartini walk away? You'd think that he would just turn around and, at least as an act, get back to the business of mourning.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's interesting drama. It's almost like as if he's envisioning, like asking himself, am I making the right move?
Well, it's funny because I was looking
Or
at
watching his security detail.
on his territory.
Yeah.
My thought was, and I made a note that it almost seems like symbolic because his back is turned to Michael. He's looking at Bartini, but he's also standing among graves. So it's like he's kind of like that's like he's getting ready to be to sleep with the fishes, if you know what I mean.
And he's in between both dons, both families, and in the middle he's in the graveyard. So he really there is no better move. In other words, he's pretty much stuck.
Yeah, he's stuck.
He's stuck and he's doomed.
Although I guess at this point he could. Do you think if he went to Mikey and said, "Listen, Mikey, I was approached by Barzini. They want to assassinate you," would Mikey be like, "Oh, good, that shows his loyalty," or would he be like, "You had your chance"?
I think Mikey.
You should have said that right from the start.
I think Mikey would forgive him because in the book, as we'll see in a couple minutes, Mikey does feel terrible that Tessio is a traitor. So I think he would have gotten him off the hook.
For old time's sake.
I do. And Tessio, according to Michael, Tessio doesn't know how strong the Corleone family really still is.
That's right, because
so it would show a lot on Tessio's part to go and say, hey, he's pretty much saying, hey, I'm going to stick with you out of loyalty, even though I know you're the weaker family.
Right.
So I think that would mean a lot to Michael.
Yeah.
Alex, in this minute, Mikey tells Tom that he's decided to be godfather of Connie's baby. Is this his first role as a godfather to a child? That you're aware of? I couldn't find anything in the book.
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah?
Only because, well, obviously Sonny doesn't have any more kids.
But he's got a few kids. Maybe he's already the godfather to one or more of them, right?
Yeah, I guess that's possible. I don't know. It's tough because up until then would Sonny want someone who wasn't in the family? Wasn't a member of the crime family to be his god? Wouldn't he just, because he can't make the Don the godfather, right? Well, he can because Connie is making Mikey the godfather. Yeah, so I have to assume that Sonny's kids Vito was the godfather.
Yeah, maybe.
At least some of them.
Yeah.
At least some of them.
The ones he knows about.
It seems like you'd have to give the Don the right of first refusal. Like, it would be an insult if you didn't at least go to the Don first and say, hey, can you do it?
It'd be great if when you're having that conversation with the Don lights your cigarette. And he says, now that I've lit your cigarette, I've done you this service. I'm going to call on you someday to do a service. He's like, wait a minute, you just lit my cigarette. That's not really a service. Oh, no, you owe me a service now. Got to be careful.
Hey, you should have asked for something bigger.
I got up and that, and you're going to be burying bodies. So, yeah, I agree. I think he is not a godfather yet. So, if that's the case, that this is going to be the first time he's a godfather, then it is symbolic. He's not only becoming the lowercase g Godfather, but he is becoming the capital G Godfather.
The OG Godfather.
The OG Godfather. Alex, another item I have here is, why does he wait until after the baptism? He tells Tom, I'm going to wait till after the baptism. Then I'm going to meet with Barzini, Tartaglia, and the heads of all 5 families.
Yeah.
Why does he wait, Alex?
Maybe because it would be too awkward to go to the christening or the baptism after you murdered the father of the baby.
Because he'd be lying to the priest, right? Because the priest asks him later, "Oh, do you renounce Satan?"
Well, see,
that's fitting.
That seems like it should be the other way.
Yeah,
it seems like you should do all your crimes and then say, "Okay, yes, now I renounce Satan and all his works."
Because then you're off the hook.
Yeah, for old time's sake.
Old time's sake.
Yeah.
Jesus, can you get me off the hook for old time's sake?
Yeah, maybe he had other things he had to do that weekend, with the baptism and all. He had Alneri doing some other job or something.
Yeah.
Or Clemenza, I bet Clemenza was cooking dinner for 50 guys to serve at the baptism, so he couldn't do the
So it's just a scheduling issue.
Yeah, it's just a scheduling issue. It's not personal. It's just business, not personal, Carlo.
Tom, take out my planner. Let's figure out the next 2 weeks. Thursday, you want to take out Barzini? Oh no, you're meeting with the notary and the other lawyer on Thursday. It's Friday. We have a window on Friday morning.
We can't do it Monday, but maybe 10 years from now.
Not this Monday, but maybe 10 years from Monday.
All right, put it in.
All right.
I like my appointments close.
He decides to kill Barzini 10 years from Monday. By then, maybe he'll still be dying from the same heart attack.
Then when they totally trust me, then 10 years from now, I'll kill them. Hide the gun behind the toilet.
Yeah. Well, by then you can leave the gun and the cannoli, because the cannoli will have been composted. Turned to compost in the car.
Along with the Paulie. Paulie was also turned into compost.
Oh, would you want to put compost made from the decomposed body of the Godfather characters in your garden, Alex?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
I think we talked about this before.
Have we really?
I think we did, yeah. Wow. When the Don was dying in the garden.
Oh, yeah. We said, the new family moved in with the Don's freshly buried grave there.
Oh, that was one of our merch items in the bonus content. It was the tomatoes grown with compost from the Don's body.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a dark time in our podcast experience.
So, Tom assumes Clemenza would have been the one to. What do you think about that?
And in the book, Tom initially thought it was going to be Carlo.
Carlo?
Yeah, he thought it was going to be Carlo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why he thought it was going to be Clemenza. Let me see if the book...
Well, my theory was that, and it ties in nicely with what's going to happen in GF2, is that in GF2, we learned that Clemenza was the first partner the Don had.
That's right.
So he's kind of the older brother.
Yeah.
And Tessio is kind of the Mikey who is stepping over Tessio's stepping over Clemenza to try to take control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's kind of what Fredo was. Fredo is the Clemenza of that relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he's getting stepped over by a smarter younger brother, a handsomer younger brother.
Well, Puzo wrote that, remember Clemenza had a buffalo head.
Yeah.
And Tessio had a ferret head.
Yeah.
And I think ferrets are more...
Weaselly.
Yeah, Weasley. Can't trust them like you can trust a buffalo.
Buffaloes are used to going in big herds and plus you use every part of the buffalo.
Oh, is that symbolic that Clemenza uses all the parts of the sausage, like the full recipe?
Well, here's a question. Suppose the Don had never told Mikey about that Tessio was going to kill him. Mm-hmm. And Mikey goes to the meeting, meets with Barzini, and he is assassinated.
Okay.
How would Clemenza react to that?
If Tessio's plan had gone according to his arrangements.
And so also, did Clemenza know? And if the plan had gone through, what would Clemenza have done?
Wow. Well, Clemenza probably would have had a choice either to kind of stay with the limp Corleone family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a whole nother question. What would have happened to the Corleone family? Would Clemenza be next in line?
Well, I assume Tessio would take it over.
If they had killed... Oh, that's right. Yeah, Tessio would have taken... You're right. Tessio would have taken it over.
Well, or, Barzini would have taken
That
pieces
was actually
of it,
the plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the family would be annexed, I guess.
So Clemenza basically at that point would have the choice. Do you want to go along with it?
Yeah.
Or do you want to fight?
And he would be maybe a capo regime in Tessio's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we know that Clemenza hates that son of a bitch, Barzini.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think... so what do you think Clemenza would have chosen? I mean, it's pretty much death or work for one of the other families, right?
Yeah, I feel like he would have to... I feel like Clemenza's enough of a realist where he'd be like, well, that's it. I guess I work for Barzini now. And then maybe, look to retire or whatever.
I think Clemenza would have been loyal to the Corleones and would have wanted to fight, even if he knew it was suicide. But Clemenza's wife was the one. Don't forget to apply for the job in the Barzini family.
Apply for the job. Oh my God. Yeah. Picturing him filling out an application.
With all the butt men, like Cheech, all these other foot soldiers, Rocco.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime? If not, why not?
Oh, that's great.
Do you think he would, if he had known ahead of time, would he have told Mikey?
Yes, he definitely would have told Mikey.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't have been like, okay, I'm going to bet on Tessio.
I think he would have told Mikey.
Okay.
Yeah. When Clemenza's applying for the job, what do you think? What highlights would he have put on his resume?
Clemenza?
Clemenza, yeah. So Michael's dead. Corleone family's getting annexed into the Barzini family, but everyone in the Corleone family has to apply.
Yeah.
For formality.
He can cook for 30 guys.
Yeah. Would that be under hobbies, additional skills, or would that be in the real qualifications section of the resume?
I'm going to say hobbies and additional skills.
That is a good skill.
Oh yeah,
for a capo regime or a foot soldier.
Yeah.
Oh, he
brings his own writer to the.
Yeah. How about he can remove parts of the gun that keep the fingerprints?
That's true.
He knows how to tape up a gun.
Mm-hmm. He's very conscientious about the safety of children. And he's conscientious about time.
Yeah, he's got good time management. He can always get to the city within 1 calendar month.
Yeah. I guess if they asked him what his biggest weaknesses are, like what's your biggest weaknesses as a candidate, I guess he would say he's very sensitive when people judge him about his dancing. And he's good at throwing sandwiches. Is that him who throws? No, is it him who throws the sandwiches?
No, it's some unnamed
guy.
Yeah, colleague of Paulie's.
Because Paulie's the one who catches it, right?
Yeah. Do you think Clemenza puts in the hobby section of his resume all the dances he can do?
Oh yeah,
totally. And the person interviewing him says, "Oh, that's awesome! Can you really do this?" And then Clemenza gets insulted, like, "Whoa, what are you, a dance judge?" He's so sensitive.
Well, ever since he got out of he did 4 years at Juilliard, but then after he got out of school, he just put on a lot of weight and was never able to
Yeah.
So I think he's very sensitive about that.
So I got a few last things, Alex. Here.
Okay, what you got?
Is Tessio? So let me start again. Michael tells Tom that Tessio made the smart move, right? Yet Tessio is a traitor.
Yes.
So therefore, is Tessio a smart traitor?
I think being a traitor can be a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
So
is it what you would have done?
I try not to judge anyone's dancing until I've danced a mile in their shoes. But
pretty soon I'll only be able to do the foxtrot in Brooklyn.
I think if I was Tessio, I think I would go for it.
Yeah.
He's not getting any younger.
Mm-hmm.
If you think the Corleone family is weak, is weaker than the voice of a washed up crooner, And Tessio's not a young guy. Like,
Yeah.
if he's going to make a move, he's got to make a move quick. Otherwise, he's just going to, he's going to be a schmuck the rest of his life.
If you knew...
Tessio's, what, 70, 80 years old?
No.
How old is he? Really? Because
You
Abe
mean
Vigoda is one of
Tessio?
those actors who has always looked old.
Yeah.
Because figure this was 50 years ago. And
How old is Tessio?
How old is Tessio and how old is Abe Vigoda?
Tessio is...
Are you actually looking it up?
No, I'm just guessing.
Okay.
I'm going to guess like mid-50s.
Okay.
Abe Vigoda is 70.
70?
Yeah.
All right. You asked, we'll answer.
So if you knew were Tessio and you knew you were going to be a cop on a hit sitcom, would you still take that chance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got a few things from the book to wrap things up, Alex. You ready?
Okay. Yeah. What else you got?
So in the book, this scene where Michael and Tom are talking about Tessio being a traitor, it's not at the funeral. It's the day after, and they're in Michael's home, in his home,
Right. I remember you mentioned
on the
that.
phone, yeah. And so Tessio calls and says, hey, Barzini wants to set up the meeting. Michael agrees to it, and Tom says, hey, what happened? And Mike says it was Tessio, and he's the traitor. So Puzo writes, he's the most intelligent, Michael said, and he did what seems to him to be the smart thing. He sets me up for that hit by Barzini and inherits the Corleone family. He sticks with me and he gets wiped out. He's figuring I can't win. So, yeah, you're right. That it does seem to be to him the smart move, and that he will inherit the family.
Yeah, and
Why?
I guess if you're like, well, this is his last chance to be a contender.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many more opportunities is he going to have to seize that brass ring?
Yeah.
And it's not personal.
No, it's business.
It's funny because also you figure with Mikey not really being in the family,
Yeah.
up until recently, I guess he probably didn't even know Tessio that well.
Yeah, probably like an uncle,
You're like one of your father's coworkers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, because we know they never talked about business at home.
Yeah, that's right. And Mikey was still pretty young.
We see Tessio in GF2, right?
Tessio? No, he's gone.
No, but I thought at the birthday
in the
party at the end,
flashbacks.
he shows up with the birthday cake. or
He
something.
does, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
but not Clemenza
Not Clemenza.
because he didn't want to come back
Yeah,
for the movie.
That's right.
Boy,
And we
what-
do see a young Tessio and Clemenza in GF2 in the
right,
flashback
yeah,
scenes.
right,
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. Hagen writes. Puzo writes. Hagen paused before he asked reluctantly, "How right is he figuring?" Referring to Tessio. Michael shrugged. "It looks bad, but my father was the only one who understood that political connections and power are worth 10 regimes. I think I've got most of my father's political power in my hands now, but I'm the only one who really knows that." He smiled at Hagen, a reassuring smile. "I'll make them call me Don, but I feel lousy about Tessio." Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. That's the way it goes, right?
yeah.
Puzo writes, Hagen said, this is interesting. Hagen said, "Have you agreed to the meeting with Barzini?" "Yeah," Michael said. "A week."
Picture him yelling this at the funeral.
Well, no, they're not at the funeral.
I
in the
know.
book.
That's later on.
I always thought it would be Clemenza. Everyone's looking over. "Have you agreed to the meeting with Barzini?" "Yeah," Michael said. "A week from tonight in Brooklyn on Tessio's ground where I'll be safe." He laughed again. Hagen said, "Be careful before then." For the first time, Michael was cold with Hagen. "I don't need a conciliary to give me that kind of advice,"
Whoa.
he said. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll end there because the next parts have to do with the next minute.
Things heating up.
Yeah, so interesting. Interesting peek behind the curtain between the terms of the relationship between Mikey and his soon-to-be-out conciliary.
Why does Mikey keep it a secret that the family is strong?
Alex, come on. You of all people should know that you need your enemies to overestimate their own strength, weakness.
But why? But why? Tessio's not the enemy.
He's trying to root out the traitor in the family.
So
he wants to see who's going to be the one to. Remember, Pop taught him to think like those around you.
Right, but the only reason Tessio is jumping ship is because he thinks that the Corleone family is weak.
Yeah, he's creating.
But if Mikey had said to him, listen, I know it looks like we're weak, but we have a lot of powerful things, then Tessio would be like, oh, good, I'll stay with you.
I know, it's almost like he's egging someone on egging several people on to be a traitor.
Yeah, I guess it's just maybe one of those things where you just want to like shake it up every now and then and see who really is the who really is has the cojones to stick it out.
That's funny, to really test people's loyalty.
Yeah,
that's
and I guess you don't want people around you. You don't want, if you're a crime boss, do you want people around who are smarter than you?
That's a great question.
Because obviously you want a good operation, but you also don't want someone who's going to be like, why am I being the second banana? I could be the one running this show.
Yeah. That's a great question.
It's how like every like martial arts master doesn't teach every single thing they know in case they ever have to fight their pupil. But they still know the death touch and all those things that they can use in case the person ever turns against them.
That makes sense. Yeah. Wow, that's a smart move. I know George Washington was highly respected at the time by his peers and the American people, but it was also recognized he wasn't the smartest person. He was smart, but he wasn't the smartest person among the founding fathers. But the reason he was so great is because he was smart enough to know that, and he was smart enough to get people into his cabinet and helping him make decisions that were the brightest minds of the time, at least among educated, affluent white people.
Yeah.
So
and Alexander Hamilton.
And what?
And Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he was. So to answer, the reason I bring up George Washington is because George Washington would say, absolutely, let's get the smartest people in the room. But it's kind of different when you're running a crime family.
Yeah.
Because Alexander Hamilton's not going to stab George Washington in the neck.
Although you could argue
Thomas Jefferson's not going to garrote George Washington while he's crossing the Delaware.
Although you could argue at that time that they didn't know that. It was a new country. You know, anyone could have sold out the fledgling United States at that point.
Oh, yeah.
So you just had to take a chance that these people were loyal.
Are you suggesting that the United States was in reality very powerful at the time, but George Washington made people think it was weak so he could test people's loyalty?
I think so. You can Tessio them.
Oh, Tessio.
Because he's got balls.
Oh, I was thinking test.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Are we going to test him? Oh, he failed.
Test he? Oh.
I think you just named our episode, Alex. Test he. Test? He? Oh. That sounds like and Hagen would be the one saying that.
Yeah.
Because Michael says, yeah, we need to find out Sally's loyalty. Test? He? Oh.
Mikey, who are you going to test? He? Oh.
He's saying it all loud at the funeral. That's so funny. Well, that's all I have.
Do you think it's probably too a young Joey Zaza could not be at this funeral, right?
Maybe running around. Maybe the young Joey Zaza is like, Zaza, Zaza, Zaza. I don't think it's him.
He's like, hey, I'm Joe Zazabrewski.
Well, he wouldn't be a kid. He'd be a baby, right?
That's what I'm saying. He'd be very young.
Yeah.
If this is 1955 and he's like, well, I guess he'd be like a teenager.
Well, at a minimum, Lucy would have to be, the child would have to be conceived because Santino's dead.
Oh, no, you're talking about Vincent. I mean Zaza.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I was thinking of Vincent. Yeah. No, yeah. Joey Zaza could be alive because he was definitely older than Vincent.
Yeah.
He'd be a kid, though.
And also, even if he was a teenager, I don't think he would be at the funeral of. He's a street level guy in GF3, so I don't think Cheech is at the funeral, or do you think?
No, unless he's a bodyguard.
Button Man. Button Man.
Maybe that's where Cheech is discovered. Maybe Clemenza sees him like digging graves and says, "Hey, you come over here sometime this month. You interested in the job? You're good at digging holes." Cheech is like, "Yeah, a whole lot of holes." It is interesting to think of how all these people were recruited.
Yeah. Well, I imagine a lot of them probably grew up in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So I guess we got to rate this sucker.
Yeah, let's rate it.
All right, I'm ready.
I do like it. I think it's another solid minute. Okay, here we go.
1, 2,
3.
All right.
Did you stop at 3?
I stopped at 2.
Okay.
Because it's okay, but it's pretty much we don't really learn any new information.
Yeah, you're right. I just love the cinematography.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. It's
so
not
cool.
saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's relative. You can't give everything.
I know.
I guess you can give everything 5 stars. It's not like we're getting in trouble or anything.
Yeah.
the podcasting council won't let you.
Yeah. You've overused your quota of 5 stars, Mikey. The council won't stand for it. They'll go right for cover. I can't believe we didn't ham that up more. They go right for cover.
Well, to use that one more.
Do you think he would have been more convincing to Santino if he delivered it that way?
If he just done it a little bigger.
Yeah, he's already shouting.
Maybe that's why, because Sonny was so like volatile. That's why Tom always has to be yelling in order to get through to Sonny. Like, he always has to be very broad and over the top to get through to him.
Sonny, he might not even be in the car.
He might not even be in the car, Sonny. He's like a ghost.
Yeah. He sounds like a game show guy. Santino, he might not even be in the brand new car. Dun, 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 dun. It's a 52 Chevy that's just pulled up to take Mikey to the meeting.
Oh.
But he won't be going alone. He'll be going with a brand new suit.
Suit.
Like what else? A suit that will hide a gun.
On a trip to Las Vegas, you'll get some tips on how to run a casino. Okay, maybe that's something we could do for the bonus con is do a prize package, a Godfather themed prize package on Price is Right.
Yeah,
a trip you'd win a trip to Sicily.
Jet skis.
You'd leave on Monday and Tuesday.
No.
All right, let's wrap this minute up.
Yeah, so stick around. Hey, oh, you know what? Do I have it on this computer? Never mind. Someone wrote a really nice review for us. It was very touching, and I want to read it, but it's on a different computer, so we'll read it next time.
Well, what do I divide as we deserve this generosity?
But stick around. We got some great content in the next segment. Alex, how do people sign up for the bonus content these days?
Well, if you go to godfatherminute.com/support, it will take you to our Patreon page, and you could, for $1 a show, you get it's been about an extra 30 minutes of content.
Oh, at least.
So it's like twice as long for $1 a show.
And we really cut loose. It's just all gags and riffs and silliness.
Yeah.
Super fun.
And plus, you get to you get an MP3 of all the countdown songs that we've done that Andrew has put together.
That's true. Yeah, we got a bunch of them up there, and a new one coming out soon. And you'll get a signed glossy of Joey Zaza.
Yeah, that's not true.
That's not true.
Although maybe we should.
Yeah.
Signed by us.
Do you think Joe Montana, if we could get to him, he would sign Joey Zaza on a glossy?
I think he totally would.
Oh, we should try for that.
All right.
All right.
We're going to look into it.
So until next time, I've decided to be Godfather
to Connie and Carlos, baby.